The top story we're tracking at this hour, the Ukrainian President Zelensky has denied that his country carried out an alleged drone attack on the Kremlin, which Russia says was an attempt on its President Vladimir Putin's life.
You know, I can repeat this message, and I think it will at least will be understandable for everybody. We don't attack Putin or Moscow. We fight on our territory. We are defending our villages and cities. We don't have, enough weapon for this. That's why we don't use it anywhere. For us, that is the deficit. We can't spend it. And we didn't attack Putin. We leave it to tribunal.
Well, Russia has opened a terrorism probe after Moscow said it had shot down 2 drones at Putin's Kremlin residence in what it called a Ukrainian terror assassination attempt. The Kremlin has further asserted on how it has the right to retaliate. And in the latest, Moscow has launched an attack on Ukraine's southern Kherson region. According to Kyiv, at least 21 people have been killed and 48 others wounded. But at this point, the bigger question remains could Ukraine have actually been responsible for this? Let's decode. Well, Ukraine has the capability to carry out long-range strikes inside Russia. Experts say that Ukraine could use its own UJ-22 drones or the Chinese-made Mugen 5 drones for this attack. Reports also suggest that Ukraine has developed a long-range drone capability that could reach Moscow. Now, here's a look at the previous drone attacks carried out against Russia in 2023. On the 29th of April, a drone strike at a fuel storage facility in the Crimean port of Sevastopol resulted in a massive column of fire and smoke. As per the Ukrainian officer, it had 10 tanks of oil products with a capacity of about 40,000 tons. On the 27th of March, a drone struck the town of Kirivix, about 400 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, injuring 3 people. On the 2nd of March, 2 civilians were killed and a boy was injured in the city of Bryansk. In February, a drone crashed in the village of Gubastovo, 100 kilometers away from Moscow. The local governor said it was an attempt to target civilian infrastructure. Now, Russia's ex-president Dmitry Medvedev also called for the physical elimination of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky after Moscow accused Kyiv of the drone attack on Kremlin. Meanwhile, the leader of Russia's Wagner Group has said that he believed a promised counteroffensive by the Ukrainian troops had already begun. In an audio message published by his press service, he has said that the active phase of the counteroffensive would begin in the coming days. Meanwhile, the White House has said that it cannot confirm the authenticity of reports by Russia that it foiled an overnight attack by the Ukrainian drones on the Kremlin. Speaking at the White House, the press secretary said that the administration is aware of the reports but is unable to confirm the authenticity of them at this time.
So we are aware of the reports, but are unable to confirm the authenticity of them at this time. And so I don't want to get into speculation from here about what happened, but we are indeed aware of the reports.
The White House announced it will send a new shipment of heavy artillery and rocket ammunition to Ukraine ahead of its planned counter-offensive.
We will have an announcement today that from the Biden-Harris administration, a new package of security assistance to help Ukraine continue to defend itself on the battlefield and protect its people against Russian aggression.
And well, with the tensions rising, there is a fear of fresh escalation, and we spoke to experts from around the world on what could be expected in the next coming days.
There is, in wartime, a distinction to be made between attacks on command and control targets and assassination. So the difference being that command and control targets, and the pictures I've seen show drones exploding over the Kremlin, not in an industrial park. So it could be that this was an attack to try to damage command and control facilities, and if Putin happens to be there, then he's sort of a secondary target. But Assassination is different. That's to the person, not trying to damage the command and control capabilities or facilities, but try to specifically kill that individual.
Putin is now an open enemy of many governments. So attempt to kill him could have been prepared, but by any of secret service of big countries, and the same of Ukraine. Ukraine will never accept that it prepared this in the same way as Ukrainians never admitted that somebody tried to blow up the Crimean bridge.
The Americans, I think, repeatedly say that and deny long-range missiles and such to Ukraine to prevent them from doing that. So I think it's mainly they're facing West and saying we didn't do it, or we don't know who did it. Something coy. They don't say they don't deny they did it, and I think we can pretty much assume that they definitely did.
Ukrainian drone attacks against Russia has increased, and even recently there was a downed drone found in the outskirts of Moscow. So, well, I would say that if this is an attack by Kyiv, it's an incredible escalation to entirely new levels, because, again, trying to kill the Russian leadership is very extreme, and as Moscow has stated, it reserves the right to retaliate how it sees fit. So it's quite possible that Russia would respond in kind by targeting the Ukrainian political leadership.
I mean, Russia is using this is trying all part of the same package of trying to actually to get Ukraine to come to the negotiating table by threatening things. This is for the internal audience and the American audience. It's not going to work. They're not going to do that. What Russia is doing are like things like the attacks on Kherson we saw yesterday.